Alright, so I'm back, and today, probably one of my more favorite lists to do of the year, my top 10 least favorite figures of the year. So, like most other reviews I do, or top 10 lists I do, these are figures that I looked at this year. They didn't all necessarily come out this year, just what I was able to finally look at this year. So, let's get it started with number 10, which is a figure I don't have anymore. It actually broke me in a way. And that's the TransArt Transmutate figure. That thing was just awful. It was just straight awful. I got it because I was excited because it's TransArt, and TransArt was one of my favorite companies up until this year. Last year they were like one of the best. This year, not so much. And this is one of the big reasons is so this was like their first official figure or not official. It's their first just straight KO, and now, Transmutate is not a character that translates well into a physical medium to begin with. But you mix that with the quality of the figure, and it felt like cheap plastic. It just boiled down to just total crap. And there was a point where I was sitting there like, man, I want to get Transmutate. I want to get, for G1, I want to get all the Sharkticons. I want to get all the different Quintessons. I want to get the, Autobot X. I want to get Nightbird. And this figure made me realize that no, I don't. I don't want all the little characters that were there for one episode or two episodes or whatever. I don't. I can't. I'm out. I can't do it. There's some figures. Yes, I'm definitely gonna get. There's some side characters I'm definitely gonna get. Like the Make Toys Rainmakers, for example. They're barely in the show, but at least they're Transformers first off, and they're off of a mold that I already like. So it's a good stepping point for it. But anyway, that's my number 10. I didn't like it so much that I ended up selling it for like nothing on one of the Facebook Marketplace. I just needed to get it out of the house. And I think that's what I said in the post. It's just like, nothing wrong with it, just get the hell out of my house. And that was the last I saw of it. So, I don't regret selling that thing at all. I just did not like it. Alright. Number 9. And again, these aren't in too much of a particular order, but sort of. MMC Cosmos. Now, I think this is an older figure. I can't remember when it came out, but I got it this year, and it just didn't do it for me. I know I looked at the Toy World one years ago, and that one was all right. And I think I looked at the X Transbot, and that one was all right. But this one just no. The panels don't quite lock in. Joints are a little on the loose side here and there. Things don't stay together. Transformation's wonky. It's not the greatest. It's one of those, it's like, I don't like Cosmos enough, and I like this figure enough that I don't feel that need to go buy more, another Cosmos. If Fans Toys puts one out, I might pick it up, but, it's like, it's just one of those, like, it's fine. It's good enough. And it's just like, that's kind of a bummer. Because it's like, I would have liked to, when I spent my money on toys, I would like to get them and be like, this is awesome. This is the best version of this character that I've ever seen. And this, it's probably one of my least favorite versions of Cosmos I've ever seen. iGear did one many, many years ago that was actually pretty good for a chunk scale. And it's like, man, it's like even that, they did their own thing with it, and it's like, man, I wish AMC would have done their own thing with this. And then the shoulders are just such wonky joints. They just sit funny, they move funny. It's just not a well done figure. So here. Oh, hold on 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. We're calling. They might call back, so I might have to pause again. But anyway, alright, next up, let's see here. There's so much ridiculousness this year. It's like, where do I go? What's next? Let's go with another older figure that I didn't look at until this year. And it's a figure that was just like, I was 100% underwhelmed with. I kept forgetting that it was a thing. MPRC. What a load of crap. Again, it's like I got her. I think I got her clearance with points, and I spent like $100 or something like that on it, and it's still about $50 too much. It's just a mess. Fans Toys, if you could reissue your Rogue, or Rouge or whatever you called it. I know that one has issues too, but at least it looks good. This thing it's good enough for the moment, but I'm not going to spend the aftermarket pricing for the Fans Toys one, and I ain't going to buy one of the other companies just because it's fine. But it's just... what a bummer. Nothing good to say about it. She's just... wasn't a great figure, and she cannot stand. I have the hardest time standing her. I actually have been using poster tack on her feet to try and like pin her to the board. I might have to use like a flight stand or something just to hold her in place or something. But she's so back heavy. It's ridiculous. I got nothing nice to say about this one. It's awful. Alright, next up. We'll do this guy. Hasbro's Marvel Legends Bonebreaker wave. The whole wave. I gotta put that whole wave on here. This is this is a fine figure. He's fine. The Sabretooth was pretty good. The Havoc, alright. The rest of them I take them and leave them. But, so it's not necessarily Bonebreaker himself, but it's what Hasbro does that pisses me off to get them on this list here. And that is, this is the epitome of what I hate about the Build-A-Figures. You get, in this case, I think it was 7 figures that really had nothing to do with each other than their X-Men characters. And you build this random, what would it be, F-list villain? A side character, way down the list, part of a team. He's part of the team, the Reavers. It's like that's what's more notable than any individual Reaver. And even the Reavers team is like it's a really low list. There's just it ain't nothing. So I don't like it. I don't like what they're doing. I hate when they do that. Where when you have something that you want to build, like a Build-A-Figure that's actually something that you want, and you put a whole bunch of crap guys in the wave, that's bullshit. If you're building a crappy character, but you have good figures in the wave, that's really crappy. And when you have subpar characters to build a subpar villain, that is even crappier. There's zero purpose to the way they did this. What they should have done is like a Reaver wave and just done all the Reavers and had him as a Build-A-Figure. Then at least you get those people that are interested in buying all the Reavers at once. Rather than, now I'm sitting here like, well, where do I get the other Reavers? I think there's one of the Wolverine 5-pack from a while back. And And then there was, let's see here. I think there was one in the, what was it? I want to say Royal Flush Game, but that's a wrong series. Yeah, there's been 2 limited editions, and then there's a third one coming out in a limited edition set. So it's just kind of like, why couldn't we just do a Reaver Wave? You know, like, I don't know. So yeah, it just was not the greatest. All right, next one. And this is kind of a cop out, especially since it is also an older figure, but you know, it also comes as no surprise to a lot of people. KO MP44. Yeah, it's like you redesign the KO so that he's got a smaller backpack. You include the jetpack, but you forget that the jetpack. You forget that the jetpack's not going to work on the new smaller backpack. It's just, you know, that's just right there, like right up there with, wow, you guys didn't think stuff through. You know, KO companies just don't think all the things through. He has the same issues that MP44 has for me, where it's just like there's so many little panel lines. You know, I've been calling it kibble. It's not the proper word for it, because kibble, you know, is that stuff that hangs off the side, but I call it kibble because it looks like dog kibble. You know, all the little lines and creases and joints, and it just looks awful. You know, compared to like a Fans Toys type figure, you know, it's just, you know, it was just so much more smooth. Hell, even X-Transbot's like their Perceptor, you know, it's such a smooth end result. Yeah, it's got some panel lines, but it just doesn't look like that. You know, or this, you know, gaps, and I don't know. I never liked the MP44 mold. I wanted to. Well, I did for a minute there, but at the end of the day, it's like I wanted to really like it. I bought the KO because I was like, you know, maybe he could be my MP Prime, but I'm just gonna stick with the transform element until something better comes along. Alright, next up, let's go with the Transart Optimal Optimus. So, I did like 2 or 3 videos on this figure before I even got it, on how much I was disappointed that Transart's doing this. Because it's a figure that they shouldn't have jumped to. You know, there were other Transmetal figures that needed to be done. You know, Rat Trap should have been out a long time ago. The Megatron should have been out before this. The Rampage, Depth Charge, you know, all of Season 3 pretty much. All of these characters could have come out before this. And also because the company was known prior to the Transmutate as a KO company, and one of their claims to fame was this figure from the KO of the Beast Wars version of this figure. So all they did was like they tweaked the mold, and you know, some people are like, oh yeah, it's still you know, it shares the engineering, but it's still a unique mold. And my argument to that is no other company, third-party company, can get away with actually putting the logo on the figure, sculpted in. Otherwise, I would have fucking loved it if Fans Toys would be slapping the Decepticon and Autobot logos onto the characters, like a sculpted-in Autobot logo. That would have been awesome. I would love that. But no, only KO companies do that. And I can tell you this is a KO because I had the original toy. Yes, they did re-engineer it and make it better. But it's not like their other figures, like their Cheetor, their Primal, their Megatron, which has the same transformation gimmicks. Like, it works the same or similar, but I can tell they're not direct copies. They're just inspired by it. This is a direct copy that has been just altered. It made me disappointed in the company. I said I didn't want it. I said I won't buy it. blah, blah, blah. I ended up buying it, and I was still disappointed. Like, I mean, what did I expect? I don't know. All right. Final four. So, this one, older figure, just got reissued. Fans Toys Mind Wipe. Inconsistent joints. There's some of these panels that are very loose. Very, very loose. It's just disappointing. It's just kind of a, no QC control on it, really. But the biggest problem I had with it is the neck joint is so tight. What I did was I ended up just gluing. Oh, now the head's stuck all together. I ended up gluing. If you guys watch the video, you'll know I broke the little headmaster off of the head. I ended up gluing that on, so now it just sits straight. But the joint here in the neck, and other people are saying it too, is so tight. The only way I was able to get it back to where it was supposed to be is I had to jam a pair of pliers in there and twist it. And it's got little grooves in the plastic from doing that now. I don't know if that's coming off very well. Just, whatever they did there, they did it wrong. I just... and I was really looking forward to having the 3 Headmaster Decepticons to go with my Terrorcons, or Horrorcons. Yeah, Horrorcons, not Terrorcons. I was really looking forward to it. Now, everyone's saying the Weird Wolf is the worst of the 3, and I'm like, God, do I want to spend $200-something on it? Yeah, I will, but... I ain't gonna make that mistake of messing with that neck too much. If it ain't moving, I'm just gonna stop right then and there. So it really bummed me out. It didn't piss me off. It should have. It didn't. It just bummed me out. Gotta redo all my shelves now. All right, next one. Fans Toys Ozzy. I mean, come on. 100-something figure, and this is what we get. And also, like, the whole way the hip assembly works, where, like, if you have them up like this, where it actually kind of looks like one flowing bot, you can't move the leg. It doesn't move forward. You have to pull it out and down, or out to the side, and then it'll move forward, but then it just looks like garbage. There is no saving this figure. It's just awful. I'm not gonna buy a different one. I'm not gonna buy another Outback because I don't care for the character. So this'll do. But I'm very disappointed in the quality of this and the design, the engineering, all of it. It's just I got nothing good to say. All right, now the final two. One I've gotten endless enjoyment out of, and the other one I laughed so hard when I first pulled it out of the box. Number 2. The KO Terrorsaur and Airazor. Airazor's still on the shelf, but I don't need to pull her out. These figures are almost great. They're almost great. If they had better paint apps, if they had little better engineering, a little tighter joints, stuff like that. My Terrorsaur was built in a way where he can't transform, I believe. I can't remember now if it was him or Airazor. One of them was built in a way I could not transform them. Or they both might have been. Oh, the Airazor, I think, had 2 left arms. So you couldn't rotate it in. And then the Terrorsaur had something up with his neck. So I couldn't transform either of them. That's right. And then these dinky little hands that are the same size as the original figure, which was a deluxe class, a small deluxe class figure. And these things have been upscaled to like leader class scale so they can fit in an MP collection. And yet they didn't upscale the hands. It is just the stupidest thing. These things were almost great, and instead they're just garbage. I got nothing to say about these guys that's good. What a disappointment. Just what a disappointment. Alright. And number 1. My worst figure of the year. Which is funny because they are also on my favorite figures of the year. And that is the Make Toy Seekers. 3 things put them on this list. 3. First one, the weird, goofy, remolded heads that they did. These things are so awful. They're packed up, otherwise I'd get them out so you guys could see it. But they're so bad. They're if you guys go back and watch the video, they like elongated the head and widened it, so it's just this big huge head sitting on the shoulders, but they didn't resize the face. It's just like the KO Pterosaur, where they didn't resize the hands, they didn't resize his face, so it's just this little head or little face on this giant head. It is just the most bizarre, goofy shit that I've ever seen, and there's no reason for it other than I know they got a lot of complaints that they had pinheads, but you know what? If you're gonna resize them, just fucking resize them. Resize the whole goddamn thing. Don't do just the head. It just looked like a kid wearing an adult football helmet. It's just it's just so awful. Number 2, the hands. These weird ass goofy hands that they put on. This tops the heads because the heads, they at least had the foresight to put the giant one on the figure and then the smaller one in the box, so you're able to swap them out. The hands, not so much. You can't swap these hands out. But the fact that they used the same hand for both sides and just reposition the thumb and this little blocker joint. That's it. So they only could sculpt one extra hand. But what's even worse is the fact that these guys had hands that were fine. They worked just fine. They weren't the greatest hands in Transformer history, but they were decent. They did what they were supposed to do, which is open and close. That's all they needed to do. It's the Starscream mold. It's not like they need to be holding a ton of weapons. So they redo the hands. They get it so that the thumb's in this weird position. You cannot. I don't even know why you design it that way. It's just the stupidest thing. And because they share the same mold or the same hand, this one has the smooth cuff. This one's got the big mushroom peg right in the middle. So it's just I don't know. That just missed the mark. But the number 1 thing that I have to say that rubs me wrong, even though I bought into it still too, is the fact that Sunstorm was supposed to be a crowd-funded figure. And that's it. He should not have been a exclusive later on. They should not have reissued him. As much as I would have been bummed out that I couldn't get one, and yes, it is slightly different paint job, but the point of the matter is that they said this is a Kickstarter or crowdfunded, whatever you phrase it as, exclusive, and only the people that backed the project when it was being made the first time were allowed to get it. And to have them reissue it in slightly different colors at the regular $150 price point, it's just like my issue with HasLab, where I backed one of their projects, which was the Hero Quest game, and it was supposed to be only the people that backed the Hero Quest game are going to get the Hero Quest game. And then once it was released, then they flipped around and said, "Oh, by the way, everyone can get it now at regular retail," and they just released it. And that's it. It's the same fucking game. Well, I only got a few extra pieces. But they seem to be releasing all the expansion packs individually. So it's like, eventually you could get everything that I got from my Kickstarter. So it just makes you question the integrity of a company that says, this is an exclusive. The only way to get it is to crowdfund it this way. Pay us directly, blah, blah, blah. And then when it worked, those are the only copies. If Hasbro turns around and reissues the Unicron or the Sentinel as a standard release, it's going to piss a lot of people off, and this should piss a lot of people off too. I haven't seen a whole lot of anger about it. And again, it's like, if my convictions were stronger, I should have said, "Well, I'm not going to buy this because of that." But honestly, I don't care too much. It's the principle of the thing, but I still get my Sunstorm, if that makes sense. So I'm, it's just kind of a bummer. It does make me a little bit of a hypocrite, but at the same time, it's like, I didn't get one because I wasn't collecting the MP at the time, and also QC on a lot of them were just so bad. I was like, I can't swing this, for something that's going to be bad. So anyway. I don't know what you guys think of that situation, but that's my number one worst figure of the year. Even though they made it on the top 10 list, because I did really enjoy the fact that I got I got 3 Rainmakers in a year, and I got 4 because I got Acid Storm too. But so now I have 5 Rainmakers because I put the G2 Screamer up there, but. So they make it on my positive list, but they also make it my negative list because of the decisions of the hand, and the Sunstorm. So, I guess that's all I got. What are your top 10 worst figures of the year? It could be Transformers, it could be anything. Just the worst of the worst, and why. Or just your number one worst figure, the one that you were most disappointed with of the year. And I think that's all I got.